Information fueled, opinion driven. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
Here we are. Here we go. Hour number 2, Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Thank you for being with us. Libertarian Lunchtime Hour is complete. We've got until 3 o'clock this afternoon, or whenever they pull us off the radio, whichever comes first. I appreciate your time and consideration today. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number, 615-737-9986. That's also the super text line, and you may dial us up in either of those directions, and we'll get your message. If you're holding on the line, I apologize to you, Gary and Dave and Sue, in advance. We're going to shift directions for a little bit, about 30 minutes or so, talking state politics, and we'll get back to your telephone calls at some point during the latter portion of this hour. Right now, however, we are joined by a name familiar to most of you who've been listening for some time. He is Scott Cepicky. He is a state representative, and he joins us in studio to talk education in the state of Tennessee, where we are regarding state politics, and we might filter the conversation over to national politics as well. Always good to have Scott in studio. Hello, my man.
Glad to be here.
It's been a while.
The hair's getting long.
It's getting down there, huh?
Wow.
It's starting to annoy me. I was at the Titans game this weekend, and for the first time, I'm like, this is because it's sticking to the back of your neck, and I'm like, ugh. This is awful. Can we just get a Trump victory and move on from it, and so I can cut my hair?
Well, that would be a coup d'etat.
I would love it. You're concerned. We were talking you're concerned about the battleground states and some of the independents?
Just don't trust what's going on over there. I think that there's a big misinformation campaign going on. They are trying to slander President Trump every way they can to make people question his ability to lead our country. I think it's a hands-down choice. I mean, if you're asking me, I think there's no choice at all. It's President Trump. He's going to get us out of this war we're headed to, in either the Ukraine or in the Middle East. He's going to secure the border. And I've told you this before, and your listeners, we spend over $800 million a year on illegals right now in the state of Tennessee and climbing. Mm-hmm. We've got to get that under control. We've got to get our energy production back in line where it should be, and get the cost of groceries down, and food, and just living in general.
I've said that I think it boils down to 5 states and about 150,000 votes, right?
Okay.
Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona.
That's fair.
And about 150,000 votes split amongst those states. And it's a frightening prospect to think that we have to get to those voters that perhaps have paid not a bit of attention. Maybe they understand what's going on in their own world, what's going on in their own wallets, but to ask of them to catch up to the point that they make the right decision, it's a scary prospect. I become oddly optimistic when it comes to these types of elections. Normally, I'm a pessimist, and I have to remain so until I'm proven wrong. We'll see. I mean, but I think it'll be nip and tuck till Election Day, certainly.
I agree with you. I think we need to continue pressing the message about our economy right now, about the status of the world. I think if you have anywhere between an 18 and a 30-year-old child, you should be very considerate about what's going on in the world, about possibility of a draft and war. And so we've got to do everything we can as Republicans and as citizens of this country to make sure that the republic is safe.
I know you're here to talk Tennessee politics and education, but while we're on wars, I'm interested your thoughts on this Israel deal. I mean, my goodness.
I mean,
what an incredible blow psychologically, physically, and actually, electronically, but then also psychologically, a blow against terrorism around the globe.
Well, I think the Israelis, if it's the Israelis, I think they have proven that they can reach out and touch you no matter where you are. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm not holding my cell phone just in case. But
I think you're all good. I think you're all good in there, book.
But I mean, the message that they're sending, I mean, how terrifying it must be just to breathe as a terrorist right now, because you don't know where the next message is coming from. And
well, it makes you not want to communicate with your network, right?
Which destroys command and control.
Yep.
Which I've heard some people talk about. This might be a preemptive strike to a strike coming from Israel to try to bring Hezbollah back down so that you take away their ability to attack Israel. We passed a resolution this year in the General Assembly clearly standing with the people of Israel and their right to defend themselves. And to this day, I will die on that wall protecting our brothers and sisters over there.
Speaking of the General Assembly, I'm interested if you have any thoughts, if you've spoken to anybody in the GA about some of what Nashville's doing regarding these ordinances that Nashville's trying to. I appreciate and respect the effort, and I disagree with a lot of those guys on the Metro Council. Mm-hmm. And Freddie and I will disagree as much as we agree on things. I think people give me hell when I say this, but I think Freddie O'Connell's heart's in the right place. I think he loves the city. He loves where he grew up, and I think he wants to do good by Nashville. Now, how that is accomplished, we probably disagree on a lot of the ways that you can best accomplish that goal, but I think his heart's in the right place in terms of these performative art piece things that these neo-Nazi groups or purportedly neo-Nazi groups are doing.
Sure.
But I don't know that we're going to be able to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish with some of the have you looked at some of the things they're trying to do?
Well, just a little bit. I think you got to be very careful because you're bouncing up against the First Amendment there, and you got to be very careful because that's a slippery slope. Once you start down that pathway, when do you stop? You talk about Mayor O'Connell. I'm more concerned, and this is where I come from in the General Assembly. I wish he would lean more on the city council and the Metro Nashville public school system to start get better results from our schools.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we will never get education where we want it in the state of Tennessee unless we get these big metropolitan cities performing on a higher grade level.
Well, and that leads us right into the issue of education. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of in the off season. I mean, that's what they tell us.
There's no off season in education.
That's what they tell us. We're in the. I mean, well, I guess we're not in the off season in education in the sense that kids are back in school, but the General Assembly, you guys are home. You're lounging on your chaise lounge, drinking your pineapple drinks with your little umbrellas in them.
Yeah.
But you apparently have done some work. So are you still focused on education in the House?
Yeah, I'm up in Nashville 3 to 4 days a week still. So what happens, and this is what people don't understand is, Matt, when we get done with our General Assembly in April or May, and we pass all those bills in education, most of them are either implemented as soon as the governor signs them, or they go into effect August 1st when school starts.
Mm-hmm.
So we spend the next couple months making sure that all the rules and language and everything is going to be right so it can be implemented and work. Now, we had some conversations about the parental rights bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Broad strokes there has led to some problems. But then when you get closer, once school starts, now you're evaluating all this legislation and making sure it's working properly. And if it's not, you're crafting legislation to get things fixed in January. Plus, you're working on, okay, what's next? What's coming next in education? There's a lot of next coming next year.
Well, what is next?
So what we're working on is I ran a bill last year on mathematics. Right now in English language arts, we are at a very high mark of 41% of our third graders are proficient in reading right now. It hasn't been that high in probably 15 years. So we're on the right path there and we're trending upwards. But our mathematics is really struggling right now. So we ran a bill last year that passed that is going to look at basically a task force on how we're going to deliver and train our teachers in mathematics and how to teach it to our kids. That's going to be coming next year. Commissioner Reynolds and her staff is already working on that. We're also going to be looking on teacher evaluations, right? Our evaluation system of our teachers is not working well right now, so we're going to look at how we do things here in Tennessee versus how some of the best states in education evaluate their teachers to get something that is more concrete that I can come on the air and explain to your listeners exactly how our evaluation system works on our teachers, which, Matt, I can't tell you how it works right now.
I don't mean to come off as a simpleton when I ask this question, but I want to back up for a second.
Okay.
And ask you, Cepicky, because it occurs to me that things did not seem this, I mean, maybe they were, and I was just a kid and I didn't understand it. Were things this complex when you and I were going to school?
No, not at all. It was very simple. Focus on the foundational basics of education, of reading, writing, and arithmetic.
What changed?
Money. Right now.
It occurs to me, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it occurs to me that the more that government involves itself in the education of our children, the worse it gets.
That's correct. We need to simplify the process and give more autonomy. and freedom to our teachers in the classroom to be able to understand, hey, here's the standards you're going to teach to kids in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Go do it, and we'll have a test at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that, right? Some states, Matt, do it just like that. There's no evaluations of the teachers. They just give them the standards. They give them a statewide test at the end, and that's how they evaluate the system. I think you're also going to see a big move in the General Assembly about getting control over cell phones in our schools during instructional time. You'll probably see a bill limiting that ability of students to have their phones during instructional time. I think you're also going to start to look into dual pathways, right? We've talked about this. The governor has proposed expanding dual pathways in education to where we spend over $1 billion in our community colleges and TCAT centers to give kids the option to go either to technical side or to community college or 4-year college side. We're going to bring that into fruition where we're going to have new, pathways in high school that if you want to become an electrician or a mechanic or a welder, here's your pathway to graduation in high school. But it's going to be different where if you're going to go to college, 4-year college or community, you're going to have different requirements for graduation.
We had, when I remember in high school, we had 2 track. We called them tracks. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Track 1 was college prep, mm-hmm. and track 2 was vocational.
Pathway track, same thing.
Right.
And that's what you and I lived through.
Right.
And you took an aptitude test going into high school, and the guidance counselor would sit down and it'd say, okay, Matt, here's how you're wired off your aptitude test. Here are the career paths that would be really easy for you to do. And here's some that are going to be challenging.
Yeah, and then talk to you about what do you want?
Right.
Here's what you're good at.
Right.
Here's what we've learned from this testing data. But what do you want? And then you kind of figure out where to go from there.
And then show them the salaries too. Show them what a welder makes. Show them what an electrician makes.
No question.
Or an HVAC. Show them these hundreds of thousands of dollars you can make, by the way, with no student debt. No student debt.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff you're also going to see is we're contemplating in high school going from, instead of 180 days of school, letting the high schools pick the hour equivalency. And we've seen this in Iowa and Wisconsin, where when they do this, high schools go to a 4-day week. The 5th day is either dual enrollment, community college, or job bedman training.
How does that work for the parents?
Well, you're in high school.
Okay.
So if you're in high school,
you don't necessarily have to have parents at the home. It's not going to impede on a parent ability
correct.
to. Okay, I see.
And so you give these
sense.
kids the flexibility to start to take college credits right away on that 5th day, or they can go to work for a Hiller Plumbing or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And start to get the real necessary training they need to be successful in life.
I want to circle back to math in just a moment, but I've got a lot of folks that are asking questions on the membersnutrition.com super text line.
Sure.
Questions like, Matt writes in, and I understand where Matt's coming from, and I'll just read his comment and let you reflect on it. Matt said, it blows me away that a member of our government would celebrate 40% competency rate.
Well, considering we were 29% 2 years ago. So we've been struggling.
I don't know that you're celebrating the growth, right?
I'm celebrating the trajectory we're on, right? Instead of being flatline, we've been since basically 2014 to 2022, we've been flatlined in our 3rd grade literacy at roughly at about 29 to 30%. 3 years ago, we implemented the Literacy Act that we were going to go back to phonics education and early education like you and I grew up with, right? Because it works. And in 2 years, we've improved our scores almost 11%. Matt, that's 7,000 kids in the state of Tennessee. 7,000 kids. Now, are we done? Absolutely not. And I agree with the listener. This is just a starting point. Our goal is to get into that 70, 80, 90% to where we're able to get these kids on grade level so that they can take advantage of all that dual pathway we talked about. They have options in life.
I've got several people on the super text line asking me about the Grow Your Own program.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll leave it here. We've got to take a quick time out.
Sure.
But when I was in college and we talked about growing your own, it was a different deal. Don't shake your head, Cepicky. You know what I'm talking about.
We're not legalizing it.
No. This is a different thing. So it's not what you think. Hey, Malinoff, it's not what you think, you stoner. It's a different deal, and we'll talk about it.
Whoa.
What? That's what you said in the...
Spicoli.
Did I hear you?
Spicoli.
That's exactly right.
Spicoli.
For the record, I have never inhaled Marijuana.
Whoa.
Sounds like
Weaver.
License and registration.
Okay, I was doing a Clinton joke,
Do you know
but in
what's-
reality, I've never smoked weed in my life. We're done with this conversation.
So last hour, he's never smoked weed in his life. This
I
hour,
was
he's
straight
never
edge.
inhaled.
Well, it was a Clinton joke, but also I've never smoked
By
weed
the
in
time
my
we
life.
get to 2:30, you'll be drinking the bong water, Malinoff.
That just sounds disgusting.
Where did this go from education?
You know.
Have you heard about the Matt Murphy show?
The Grow Your Own program. Because I can't. I get squirreled.
You can't
too.
help yourself.
I can't help myself. It's 21 after the hour. We'll find out exactly what Grow Your Own is in a moment. We'll get more of your questions from the membersnutrition.com super text line. If you have a question for Scott Cepicky, he's in studio with us talking education on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk.